Well, good morning. Pat here from the upholstery shop. I'm going to start putting together some do-it-yourself upholstery videos. I'll show you how a professional has done it for 47 years. Now that I'm retired, got a little time to play around, maybe teach some other people. Right now I'm working on some umbrella cushions for a friend of mine, some outdoor furniture. Putting together the zippers and the bands and
He's always breaking the plans that she's made. And there's so many good things that he never gave her. But it never mattered to her
So this is a rounded cushion, the front of it. Got a rounded nose on it, like that. So what you do, you see that center notch I put in there. I got the cushion right here by the sewing machine foot. I got a center notch on it. And that's where you want to start, because your fabric's going to stretch. No matter what it is, it's going to stretch. So you have to work your way around the cushion from side to side. So you line up those center notches right there and step back just a little bit. And I'm in about 5/8 of an inch from the edge. If you want, you can turn your hand wheel and sink your needle in there so it's holding you in position until you get your fabric in place. And when you start out, you always got to hold these two threads here. And then you work your way right around this corner, not pulling at all on the fabric. It's got a walking foot, the sewing machine, so it'll pull it through for you. When you get around here where you can run a straight stretch, staying in about 5/8 of an inch. This is a rather big cushion. It's 28 inches square. This is where my zipper tab is going to stop when the cushion's zipped up. So what you want to do, when you put your cushion in there, you pull this tab back. It has a lock on it. That's what that little thing is right there. I top stitch this so you can hide that. Lock that zipper down, put that over there. And then when I sew this, I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna take it back about, I got a little bit of fabric I left at the end to play with, so I'm gonna pull it back about 1.5 to 2 inches. That way, it'll also hide that. It gives you a little pocket to hide that. And I want to eat up a little bit of fabric without cutting these, so here we go. Now when you get down here, where you got to make a sharp 90, come in about 3/8 of an inch, put a little snip there. Come on down here to where you're about 5/8 from the back edge. Lift your foot. Come around, lay that down right there so you got a nice corner. Go 90. This is a smoking fast machine. I've had this one here for probably 35 years, 37 years now, and it's been such a good machine. It's too fast for a lot of people. All right, I had to leave the machine for a minute. What I had to do is I have 12 of these to do, so I want to make sure when I sew this piece on right here, the other side of the band, I want to make sure it's exactly the right length, so I don't have to worry about any problems when I get around. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this cushion up for you. A little bit about me and upholstery work. I've been retired now for 3 years. I got 47 years in before I retired. Started when I was really young, actually before I had my driver's permit. So I'm just I know that's what I need to wind up just about where I need. So I'm going to pull this over. That's why I cut a little bit off. I didn't want to have a whole bunch hanging over. So I'm going to pull it over. A lot of people will just cut a small strip and wrap over their end of their zipper. This lays a lot better in the cushion when you just do the whole strip, and it just, this edge stays nice and square for you. So I just come over about an inch. That needle is actually, it works its way right in between the teeth of that zipper. Once in a great while you'll bump a needle and have some issues, but not very often. What I'm going to do here to make sure these wind up where I want them, come over here, work my way down here. Nice. This is what I did. See, when I went back and sized this piece right here, it was so I could finish off right like that. So I know my cushion is all nice and square, and I can buzz right on around this thing and finish it up. So. Pulls the fabric through for you. A lot of people, they want to pull and tug, and all you gotta do is keep it straight. Keep it lined up as it's feeding through. And I go slow around these corners because it's so important to wind up. See there? I wound up right at both my notches. My notch on my band matches my notch on my cushion. That tells me I can keep. Now if that didn't match up, I would go around to the other side of the cushion, as long as it wasn't too far off, and come the other direction, and that material would stretch a little bit. But this umbrella, it doesn't stretch a whole lot. It stretches, but not much. Everything you do as an upholster is upside down, inside out, and backwards. You gotta reverse everything. You sew everything inside out. Another thing you can do, you can mark these corners right here. I've done this long enough, I know what I'm doing right here, but this is not normally how I would instruct you to do it. But you can put a little, always put your little notch where you want, I know that's the corner, and I know it's got to line up on this corner, which it will because I left myself a little pocket right here. Right there. That'll make that. This is what we call the salvage. You hear me talk about salvage? That's this piece right here. That'll make your salvage lay over a lot nicer when you snip that corner, and it'll keep from having bumps in the cushion. Back in the mid-'80s, I moved to Harbor Springs, Michigan. And I had some very, very, call them important people, but singers and just people like the Proctors and the Gambles and the Wrigleys and the Fishers, and I lived right downtown Harbor Springs. So I got to know a lot of these people, and I worked in a upholstery shop a little while down there. Bump the camera, figure that out. So I'm coming around here where I'm going to be finishing up pretty soon. And what I'm going to do, I'm not just going to run it right to the end. Come to here. And I'm going to come back here where I started. Check the camera, I thought I bumped it again. Come back here to where I started and finish it off. That way, if I'm off just a tad, just a little bit, I can hide it back here. If I come from that direction and finish off here, if one of these is a little bit too long, you gotta pucker. You don't like puckers. Not if they're not supposed to be there. Always hit reverse. This machine's got reverse. That locks the stitch in. That way I won't have to worry about it unraveling on you. This corner was a little any sharper, I would snip it like I do on those ends. But I cut it so it had a pretty good angle on it. So I wouldn't have to do that. Alright, I'm about to wrap this baby up. Outdoor umbrella furniture got to be pretty popular when I lived down there in Harbor Springs. Oh, I made tons of it. So you can see I'm finishing up here. Everything's nice and nice. It's going to be right where I want it to be. her in there just a little bit. Here's a little bit of what goes into building a sofa. It's a lost art. It's a replacement of webbing, springs, and a tie job, an 8-way, hand-tied, modified crown is what this is called when it's done. Right there, I got my first tie set in the pitch on the front springs. See, there's a little angle on them. Coming from the other direction now with a 2-way tie, so they all work as a unit. It's a shame this all gets covered up. There's a 6-way tie. Notice how I hook them together in the center on the 6-way tie. There's the finished up 8-way hand-tied modified crown with a pitch in the front to keep your cushions from sliding off. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that upholstery shop stuff.